look lonely. I can fix that. You look like a good Joe.
So the Carno rework has had a lot of very, very mixed receptions over the past few weeks, and recently we've reached a very, very important cornerstone in the development of the Carno. That being that certain bugs that Carno have right now that were benefiting it are slowly being removed. The only one currently in the game is a bug where if you hold off tapping your charge button until you've reached the actual hitbox of the dinosaur and you hit charge, you will actually knock them over if you can knock them over, or you'll stun them if they can be stunned. So for example, if you do it against a raptor, it will be knocked over. If you do it versus like a Cerrado, it will be stunned. This, of course, the QA members do know this, and this was fixed momentarily in the patch where everyone's attacks broke, and now it's back again now that it's fixed. So maybe trying to fix that bug causes other attacks that cause knockdown to not function properly in terms of how that damage works, but hopefully there'll be a fix to this in the future. At the same time, this could actually stay, as the Carno is sacrificing the ability to run very, very fast at you for the ability to instantly knock you over. So there's always that point of thing here. But the main thing is that a lot of the bugs that were keeping Carno very, very relevant in the game are being removed, meaning that the full extent of how bad this Carno rework is beginning to rear its very, very ugly head. One of the biggest travesties with the current Carno is that for a dinosaur that is designed to kill small prey, it finds it very, very difficult to kill small prey. This could be due to the fact that the game, at least I'm theorizing, is moving towards a place where carnivores don't constantly need to be hunting other players. And in fact, the carnivores will actually be very, very self-sufficient to just live off of AI, especially the low-tier carnivores. We're talking our raptors, our dilos, our cerrados, our carnos. Whereas dinosaurs like Allo will then be using AI to substitute parts of their hunger and diets, but will mainly be needing to hunt things. Then we'll have our apexes who will be constantly needing to hunt. But this is just a theory to begin with. The reason why I'm believing this is simply because of the fact that Carno just isn't very much capable of killing small game. The reason is that it just doesn't quite have the damage, and it doesn't have the finisher potential to really get the job done. We actually see other dinosaurs that have finisher potential where Carno doesn't. For example, for raptors, you have grappling. You weaken your target, you get to grapple them. Or even more, you have the bleed that can slowly start to rack up and kill something. With Dilo, you have hallucination spam. The better and better you do in the fight as Dilo, the more and more you can send out more and more hallucinations, especially in a pack. Then you have dinosaurs like Carno, which don't have the finisher potential. Its damage on the charge is locked, and it can only do so much damage at once. And it doesn't have access to clean, consistent knockdowns to really help it get that ramp up in damage. The reason why in the past Ambush Carno was so heavily treasured was because the devs, as I stated before, are moving towards a Carno that they've envisioned the entire time. A Carno that chases you down in the plains and uses its charge more than its bites to catch up to you or zone you in order for it to effectively and efficiently take you down. The issue, of course, is right now is that while this Carno is 100% able to do this, it's very, very difficult for it to actually get the kill because the damage is not there, and it doesn't have the ability to blast something down very, very quickly. This is why in the past the ambush was so good, because you could effectively skip all the hassle of chasing something by instead just ambushing something, knocking it over, and biting it twice in the head. This isn't as doable anymore, especially with the changes to Carno's ram distance. We can actually see the fact that, yes, making it so Carno needs to be ramming for about 50 meters to knock something over might not make sense in the ambush sense, because you can hear the Carno coming from about 20 meters, but actually makes perfect sense in the pursuit playstyle. It seems that the devs were always going for this pursuit playstyle, but the ambush playstyle was just more wanted. And the reason is because I explained earlier on, it's just more consistent to get kills. Unless of course Carno isn't meant to be consistently getting kills, and is supposed to be living off primarily AI. The issue of this, of course, is that while at the beginning of the whole test and the beginning of this patch, Carno was actually gaining quite a lot of food from AI, it now seems to be gaining less food from AI than it used to. In fact, it seems to be filling up the same amount of food by eating boars than it was before it got downsized. But we'll have to do a bit more experimentation with this just to make sure. This would mean that Carno would be able to fulfill the role of the small game hunter in the plains, but it is a dinosaur that you can properly actually play around and maybe escape, making Carno more of a set piece rather than an actual efficient hunter. Which is what I believe the small tiers might be becoming. Set pieces. The idea being that the small games, the small hunters we have right now are Carno, Raptor, Dilo, and Cerrado. Cerrado, of course, will probably stay the most relevant out of all of these, unless of course Raptor gets some new changes of its bucking, simply because it's able to corpse bully, and in groups it'll be able to take on mid-tiers, and maybe even some of the larger mid-tiers, like Alberto, but we'll have to see. The biggest issue, of course, is that dinosaurs like Dilo and Raptor very much have a very thematic element to them. The Dilo is this nighttime hunter that stalks you around, envenoms you, and then hits you with the hallucinations, but generally isn't that much of a threat. And you have Raptor, which is this pack animal, which is aiming to ambush, jump onto you, and then grapple you. But if it's unable to do this, you just buck them off. Effectively, they are less of hunters, but sometimes feeling more like they're set pieces. That the herbivores are the actual players, and you are almost a glorified AI. Of course, we'll have to see how time goes on, and whether or not these fears I have are actually, you know, how'd you say, based on anything, or whether or not it's just me spiraling for no reason. But it is definitely an idea there. While I don't think we are becoming set pieces, and it is a ridiculous thing to really suggest, I feel like the sentiment might be felt by quite a few people, that the carnivores just feel very, very underwhelming and outmatched by their herbivore counterparts. This is actually me from the future, believe it or not. In the creation of this video, and a few other videos I'm making, more things have changed in the game. As you can see in this clip here, Packy's RAM now actually cancels Carno charge. So everything that I was actually going to say for the rest of this video about Carno's matchups have now completely fucking changed. Thank you for small changes during patch notes. I fucking appreciate it. It makes my life so much more exciting. And then people on YouTube might then have the audacity to be like, well, Turkish Delight, why don't you just do videos? You guys have no idea, no actual fucking clue, none of you do, of how many bloody videos I've made in the past that were edited, that were scripted, that had these like really interesting points and ideas put into it, only for like the week when I'm working on this video. For something to then fucking change or break, and then I just literally just cannot be fucking arsed anymore. Right? I did it in the past. I have multiple videos in the past that have in the title already outdated. This is because they were videos made during a haul test, and then when it came to live, the things in the haul test were either removed or changed again, and it just completely just changed everything. So, the original point I was going to make about Packies in this video, honestly, fuck the video essay aspect of this, honestly. There's going to be a complete tonal disconnect for anyone watching this video, because it's just gone from like video essay to just me ranting, because I'm just going to rant now because I'm actually fucking fed up with this fucking dinosaur. I really am. Every single day we've got Erin in the fucking Discord going, oh guys, Carno. He's mentioned Carno. You know what, fuck it, I'm putting on the fucking meme. Godspeed to Doug T for making this meme. It's being posted right fucking now, okay? Enjoy that meme.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night, I can feel my leg and my arm fingers. The body I've lost. The comrades I've lost. Won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there. You feel it too, don't you? I'm gonna make them give back our past.
I'm going to assume that the meme is played. So, because in the past, Carno charge used to go through Paki's RAM, right? This was then... No, so Paki's RAM used to cancel Carno's charge. This was seen as too unforgiving for the Carno, given the fact that Paki's could just break the Carno's legs or the body and then just run away. You see, because as I've mentioned before in a previous Carno video, the devs didn't want Paki to be 1v1 in Carnos. I then said in that video that I suspect in the future that Paki's will be able to 1v1 Carnos, especially if they give Paki back the ability to cancel Carno's charge. Now, funny, it's so funny, funny, goofy, right? Now Paki has regained the ability to actually cancel Carno's charge after it was changed ages ago, where Carno's charge once again be able to go through Paki. So when the Carno got downsized, it kept the ability to not get cancelled out of his charge by Paki. Obviously now, during its downsize, it's now being considered reasonable that Paki can now cancel Carno out of his charge. However, what we now have now for Carno, is a dinosaur that if it sees two raptors, it needs to be careful, otherwise it fucking dies. If it sees two galleys, it needs to be careful, otherwise it fucking dies. If it sees two dilos, it fucking dies. And if it sees a solo dilo, even during daytime, if the dilo knows that it can just face tank the fucking charge and then just hallucinate the Carno before it reaches half health, and then just dip, the Carno potentially fucking dies. And what else? Paki fucking kills Carno, probably solo now. What else? What other small games are there? That's basically it. That is basically it. We now have a small game hunter, which I agree. I've always said it in the past as well. It's always annoyed me when people are like, oh, my Carno is the small game hunter. I should be able to fight 50 million raptors and not even break a sweat. No, that's just fucking stupid. Right? That's just stupid. No one's probably told you this before because they didn't really want to hurt your feelings, but that's stupid. Dare I say retarded. Right? But consider, a small game hunter should at least be a threat towards small game. I will actually keep the original video essay talking at the end of this video, so you guys can at least hear the things I was going to say in a far more coherent fucking way. But I really do fucking mean it. Now, what you just heard at the beginning before this abrupt fucking scene change about feeling like the carnivores are spectacles to be seen by the herbivores, I really am fucking feeling it. I really am fucking feeling that the design for Carno is that you're in the plains and you go, ooh, scary, I'm in the plains, no? I'm in the plains. I sure hope a Carno doesn't fucking attack me. And then the Carno appears and you start being chased by the Carno. And you're like, oh my god, I'm being chased by the Carno. It's right? And then like some fucking streamer has this fucking reaction. He goes, oh my god, chat. Is that a T-Rex? No, it's a Carnotaurus. He's chasing me. Just shut the fuck up. Oh god, just you get jumped by 3 raptors. And the first raptor jumps onto you. And you just instantly buck it off. And then you just kill it. And then you just kill it. And you just have this moment of like, oh my god, there's raptors. I might be in danger. And then the danger is immediately gone. I will not be surprised if they add a feature to be able to get out of a dino grab. I really would not be surprised. I also would not be surprised if there will be ways to escape an Allo's grab or even a Rex's grab. We can look at this especially with dinosaurs like Galley and dinosaurs like Paki versus Carno. Paki can ruthlessly dispatch Carnos like it's nothing. About 2 galleys is all that's really needed to take on the average Carno. And with Paki, 2 Pakis could take on the average Carno, but they struggle versus a good Carno. You need 3 Pakis to really kill a solid Carno. But then we raise questions of, is Paki now a pushover? Because it can't take on Carnos effectively. It still can, basically, very reliably fracture the Carno's body or its leg and then run away, but do people maybe want more from Paki, especially given Carno's downsize? But once we see from the Carno is that Paki is actually a very, very reliable thing for it to kill. But it's not as good as chasing the carnivores. And why is this? It's because the carnivores are faster. Obviously, they can escape the Carno. Hence, they do escape the Carno. Whereas some of the herbivores are incapable of really escaping the Carno, especially in Packy's case. Unless, of course, Packy lands those fractures. We even did an experiment, which should be on the screen right now, if I've timed this all correctly, where we even simulated an ambush perspective with the Carno. And we tried to see whether or not we could actually get the Packies to escape in a 2v1 situation, knowing that if the Carno kills one of us, the other one will not be able to kill the Carno. So effectively, we were just trying to see if we could escape, and lo and behold, we could escape. So even Packy is able to escape Carno, Gally's able to kill it, and Raptors and Dilos were able to ruthlessly dispatch it. So what real hope does this Carno have? That is the question. And is this Carno meant to be played in a way where you simply just survive off of AI until the perfect hunting opportunity arises? One thing I noticed in all of these Carno fights was that if the small game wanted to fight the Carno could actually hold its own reasonably well if the Carno played a more defensive position. However, if the Carno was trying to hunt, it would be very, very unsuccessful to do so, and could even have the role of predator and prey switched on it, almost on a dime. So what is this Carno meant to do besides perhaps hunt the solo player? But this could cause more issues than it's worth, and I will explain. In looking through the Isle Discord, I simply looked up how many times Carno was mentioned in the past few weeks, and you could imagine it was mentioned a ridiculous amount of times. But something caught my eye, and it was complaints about Carno. When Carno has been the weakest it's ever been, in terms of good players versus good players, it's still somehow causing a lot of strife for newer players, or even just worse players, or the average player, let's just say. But why is this? It may just be due to the fact that these players never really got good at dodging Carno. A shocking statistic, well not statistic, a shocking fact that some of you may not know is a vast majority of people who play video games can't actually run and look behind them at the same time. They just aren't able to switch their brain to use the A and D keys to move around. While you may not believe me, I would implore you to go look at the average gaming journalist play a fucking video game, and you will very, very quickly notice that no, they cannot do these things. The Cuphead example being the most famous ones of people just being silly. But this means that quite a lot of people simply just cannot escape the Carno. Another reason why people are having strife with Carno is because of random spawns. And what they said is that they found it annoying with the random spawns because they would always be spawned in somewhere and have a group of Carnos patrolling around the area waiting to kill people. Now, this could just be seen as a level of slight in-game toxicity or bad manners. Instead of playing the game honorably, you have chosen to simply just bully the weak. But why are Carnos doing this? Well, I would reckon it's for reasons why things like hotspots exist, which has never really been grasped by a large amount of the community. If you looked back at the hotspots, South Plains and Northeast Plains, it was genuinely carnivores that existed in these areas. But why? It was simply because it was easier for the carnivores to hunt each other than it was to go out of their way to hunt herbivores. The herbivores were too difficult to kill, effectively, and this hasn't really changed too much. The herbivores are still, for the most part, rather inapproachable whenever they get into groups, which they will do, especially as this is far easier for the herbivores to get their start in life than it is for the carnivores. And for a Carno right now that is finding it difficult to really hunt the small game it's meant to be hunting without perhaps getting itself killed, it makes sense why it would start going after people who just spawned in. But are you not the most vulnerable and the smallest of games when you are but a wee child? So far, the future of Carno is looking a tiny bit bleak, but I have some encouraging news, which is that you can still change things. Not everything is written in stone. unlike the real dinosaurs, the creatures in this game are not extinct and can continue to evolve and redevelop themselves, redefining what they once were in pursuit of, well, hopefully game perfection, and most importantly, fun. We want this game to be fun. This current Carno, in my opinion, while very, very fun to play, does not feel that rewarding to play. But by just giving some feedback, we can indeed improve it. And I hope this video at least helped to highlight some of the issues that Carno has in a more video essay way, which I've wanted to experiment with. But we'll have to see. But as always, yeah. That's it. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Mhm.